Hi there, my name is Katie Dousman, and this is my personal learning project for Teachers Academy. Earlier in the school year, when we first got started on this Teachers Academy journey together, we were lucky enough to spend some time in Columbia, Missouri, learning from John Antonetti. He cited John Medina's book, Brain Rules, and he said that people don't pay attention to boring things. Now, we know this is true for children as well as adults. He also jokingly gave the advice: focus lessons and activities toward the Bubbas and not the Mary Sues, to the kids who need a hook of engagement, not the ones who are already motivated to work hard. This advice led me to choose 3 specific strategies to increase student engagement and mastery of a specific math skill. I decided to focus my instruction on whole brain teaching and 2 Kagan strategies called Rally Table and Showdown. During my math instruction each day, I started incorporating a little bit of whole brain teaching. Whole brain teaching maximizes student engagement and it focuses on the way that the brain is really designed to learn. One of my favorite elements of whole brain teaching is the Teach OK model. And this involves the teacher teaching a skill in about 1 to 3 minutes and then assigning students partners or trios and taking turns teaching the new information to each other using gestures, expression, and in this case, manipulatives. Whole brain teaching is really great for learners because it allows them to move around instead of sitting still like statues. It allows kids to be enthusiastic about their learning and to explain their new understanding in their own words. It's also really simple to look around the room and to decide who's engaged and who might need a little prompting. Another strategy that I incorporated is called Rally Table. My students practiced this activity when they were generating equivalent fractions, converting improper fractions to mixed numbers, and it was also very helpful because it was something that we could do at our desks with paper or on the carpet with whiteboards and markers. Kids would sit in small groups. I would give them a specific problem to attack, and then they would share their answers with their teammates. Showdown is a similar strategy that worked well in my classrooms. I used this on a day students were asked to compare fractions using any strategy that worked best for them. They could explain their methods to other kids, and they could articulate the process that took them to their answer and also any mistakes that they made along the way. In order to make decisions about how my students were growing with this math skill, I gave them pre and post assessments. These were short assessments that included a balance of DOK levels. As you can see, number 5 is pretty simple. They had to order fractions from greatest to least. And question 8 takes a little bit more thinking. Not only did they have to determine equivalence, but they had to explain and evaluate why Kathy was correct or incorrect. Here's a table of the data that I recorded for my students. You'll notice in the far left column is each student's name, and then their pre-test score out of 16 points. I set individual growth targets for each of my students based on their performance at the beginning of this math skill. Along the way, I gave 3 separate short formative assessments. The orange highlighted are kids who scored below a 70%, and this helped me decide who to touch base with more frequently or to pull for an individual or small group conference. In the last 2 columns, you can see that all students achieved the goal that we set for them at the beginning of the unit. In reflection, incorporating student engagement strategies had several positive effects in my classroom. Once students gained more experience with the Teach OK, showdown, and rally table, they were excited to begin math each day. They knew it would be a time for talking, sharing, and learning from one another. I will continue to use these strategies in math and other subject lessons. Another positive impact that my students mastered is that my students mastered the learning objective. Every student in the class was able to meet the target and successfully compare and order fractions. Students were able to choose the strategy or strategies that worked best for them and demonstrate their understanding in a way that worked for their individual learning style.